hold on to me.
Hello again, my name is Danielle Burmeister and I work at Homesteaders Life Company in West Des Moines. We are in Boston this week for the National Funeral Directors Association's annual convention. This is our last broadcast in the social media lounge here at convention, sponsored by Homesteaders and Disrupt Media. This year we are trying something new. We did some panel discussions earlier in the week, and because this is the last day, we thought we'd switch up the format a little bit and just have a more casual conversation with Ryan Thogmartin here with Disrupt Media. So, Ryan, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Disrupt?
Sure. I'm Ryan Thogmartin, CEO of Disrupt Media. We are a social media agency that has a personalized process for helping funeral homes create measurable leads and community engagement through social media.
Great. And Homesteaders and Disrupt Media partner together.
Yes.
Our Homesteaders customers can use their partner points and kind of get a bump on their marketing allowance if they partner with Disrupt and use those dollars for that program. And I know you guys provide some exclusive content for those customers too, and they found a lot of value in that. So that's one of the many reasons why we partner together on the Social Media Lounge. But fundamentally, it's just that we feel very strongly that social media is so important for funeral homes. And one of the questions that we get a lot is, how do I integrate my social media strategy with my traditional advertising efforts? So that is what we're going to talk about here today. We have some questions from our audience, so we'll go ahead and get started with those. The first one is, can a traditional television commercial work on social media?
Yes and no. So the real value of Facebook is the ability to be able to tell a story. Most television commercials are 15 to 30-second spots that are broken up over a series of videos throughout a year. So being able to put all those together to make a 2-minute, 2.5-minute video that can go on Facebook can be done. But a lot of times we've got to alter those to be able to really tell the full story. So Facebook even allows you, Facebook calls them Facebook commercials, so crafting content that is specific for Facebook. So we're working on a number of those initiatives with some of our clients, but some video content from a commercial will work on Facebook, but if it's like the just normal, soft music, the old couple in the arrangement room, and then a logo, that doesn't work so well on Facebook. But when there is a story being told through the commercial that we can amplify on Facebook and tie in and make it longer form, then yeah, it's really valuable.
Do you think that commercials on Facebook, when done through the Facebook platform or designed specifically for Facebook, do you think there's more stickiness in terms of viewers watching till the end?
Absolutely, because it's designed for the platform that it's on. When you try to adapt video to multiple different platforms, it'd be essentially like trying to take a video from Facebook and running the same thing on Snapchat. It's a completely different format, different length. It's not going to be as organic and real. And that's really where developing for the platform that's going on is highly valuable, and the user knows. If something's been crafted for Facebook, or if it's a minute-long thing that's been crafted for Instagram, or was an Instagram story that was downloaded, you can tell the platform that it was designed for. So designing specifically for Facebook is really valuable, and Facebook will give priority to certain types of video in the news feed. So if it's a little bit longer and they can run ads through the middle of the content, then there's priority that's given there. If you're developing under 15-second content, Facebook will run that content as midstream ads. So when you roll into your news feed and you go to the video-only news feed and you start watching video there, Facebook will plug in a 6 to 15-second video if you've crafted it specifically for the platform. So there are a number of different ways to use each platform with different formats of video that are extremely valuable. So absolutely developing for the platform where the video goes needs to be a priority.
And I would imagine that's a discipline that a lot of funeral professionals are already familiar with in terms of customizing services. Your service that you plan for a mother of 6 who just died of breast cancer is going to be different than, a 27-year-old firefighter. And so they already are customizing experiences for certain situations, and so they've already got that discipline. It's just a matter of applying that to social media. Our next question is, can social media be used to amplify traditional marketing campaigns?
Absolutely. So I like to say that social media is old school marketing or traditional marketing in a new shiny box. It's about relationships, and it's about leveraging those relationships for something greater. And we have the difficult part with traditional advertising and social media and amplifying one or the other is getting a user from one platform to the next or one medium to the next. So driving someone from print to a Facebook page is difficult if there's not something in the print ad that allows them to easily either scan a QR code or type something in that's going to direct them there. So the nice thing is we have a lot of clients that still advertise in newspapers. We'll run a billboard here and there, or the typical church bulletin or something like that. So we take campaigns that work really well on Facebook and then craft them in a way that can leverage the meat of what was valuable on Facebook in the traditional sense. And it's very difficult to do because traditional is really one-dimensional and there's no back and forth engagement there. But if a campaign works well on Facebook, there's the ability to take pieces of that campaign and find where they would work in traditional to keep branding the same. We've also had really good success if we're running a contest on Facebook using traditional as a way to talk about the contest. So it's difficult, like I said, to go from one medium to the next, but if there's really a good value proposition online and using offline to drive somebody there and you can connect the dots easily, it can work and be valuable.
And I think part of it is that recognition, that familiarity of your brand. So I saw your ad in the newspaper, and I saw maybe the end of a segment on television, and I heard a bit of it on the radio, and I've heard some friends and family talk about it, and now I'm starting to see it on Facebook. And it's just that repeated exposure to a brand, and it keeps them top of mind and reinforces.
Well, it's kind of like you saw an ad on Facebook, then you were driving home and you saw the same ad on a billboard, and then you're watching the news and you saw the ad again, and it's like it's meant to be. It's everywhere. Mm-hmm. So it is connecting the dots. The consumer needs to hear your message 8 times before they can function to make a decision. So it's really important that you are repetitive and that you're keeping things. If you're going to do traditional advertising and social media, they should really integrate and keep the same messaging. That way you are amplifying that message over and over and over again.
Yeah. One of the things that at Homesteaders we started looking at is really trying to focus our digital and our social media ads on targeted ads. Mm-hmm. Making sure that the messaging we're sending and we're serving up to the right person.
Yeah, right.
And that's not something you can do with traditional media. You're kind of, it's just, artillery fire, and if it hits a target, that's great. But with social media, it's really just aimed right at the person you want to reach, and that's phenomenal. Yeah, it's really helpful. All right, so our next question has to do with marketing research. In your mind, does marketing research done in traditional ways impact the way that social strategy should be built?
Yes. So we have some mutual experience on this. We work with a mutual client who is doing research, traditional marketing research with homesteaders. We're able to take that research and use that to better target on Facebook and create content that speaks to the demographics and the feedback that happened through the research. So it absolutely is immensely valuable. Specifically because we can know more about the market, which allows us to craft content that's going to resonate better there, and we can pinpoint, like you said, that specific niche that needs a certain message. And it is a different message that goes to someone that's 24 to 35 versus someone that's 35 to 45 or 45 and older. We care about different things, and market research lends us to that. Another thing that market research, I think that we've learned, by being partnered with homesteaders and working on joint projects, is how the funeral home perceives themselves in the community, and then how the community actually perceives the funeral home. And the lingo that we use in the profession isn't necessarily always the same lingo that the consumer uses. So that market research allows us to be able to create content in a way that's going to speak the same language as the consumer, and we're not calling the same thing 2 different things and confusing everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think we hear a lot of times that, my market won't support this, or none of my clients are on social media, or they're older, or I'm in a small community. And those things are true. You are in a smaller community, you may have an older demographic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that social media won't work. It means that you need to target and plan your social media in response to what the market will support. And I fundamentally think that there's room for a social strategy in any funeral home. I mean, there's possibility, and that's where people spend their time. And so if you can reach them there in ways that they're comfortable receiving messages from you, I think that's really that money spot. Yep. That's where you get the value.
I mean, in all the markets we've worked with, and across the United States and Canada, we're yet to find a market where social media wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some examples from your experience of ways that traditional media and social media can mix?
We've all seen the Red Bull commercials that would be ran during extreme sporting events, and they show a part of a video, but to see the rest of it, you've got to go to YouTube or go to Facebook. We've had clients that have run voting campaigns, and we just did a breast cancer awareness campaign with a few of our clients where they ran newspaper ads and used some of their other marketing initiatives to drive users to Facebook to be a part of that campaign, and that can work well. Again, it's difficult to make that shift, but providing a QR code is really helpful, specifically now with iOS 11, where built into the camera is a QR code reader where you don't have to buy an app.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize that.
App, you can
I'm still in the Stone Age with my iPhone 5.
That's all right, but the camera will actually recognize now a QR code and automatically scan it. So integrating traditional and social media is going to be something that doesn't stop. We're going to find other ways that are valuable, and a lot of communities work in the newspaper isn't printed every day. So maybe it's it's a different outlet. Maybe it's radio. Radio is a medium where we don't put a lot of thought because it's been completely overpriced. But now, with all of the other marketing outlets, radio is one of the things that's now becoming more underpriced. So it may make sense in a market where you can do some market research and determine that there isn't a lot of XM listeners, and radio would make sense. And being able to hit them repetitively with the same thing. Dean uses the example all the time of the morning drive, and you fit into that window when they have the radio on. Being able to run things that are repetitive there that ingrain social media into that user's mind, and they think about going to your Facebook page can provide value. But it's difficult, but there are ways to do it. And I think that what you just hit on, using social as a way to really pinpoint. So if there's a campaign that's being driven towards, you're running it towards older women for a lunch and learn. Social media, we can target that user specifically, and then maybe there's a traditional media outlet that is delivered to a population that is predominantly older women, and you can make sure the two campaigns mirror each other.
We have one of the ways I've seen this really work successfully. We have a grocery chain in Iowa called Hy-Vee, and it's a local chain, and they have started a meal delivery. They'll deliver your groceries, or you can go and pick them up. And they also do a lot of those recipe videos on Facebook. So if you follow the Tasty BuzzFeed, they make everything. I'm so addicted to them, but. Our Hy-Vee has started doing this, and what they've done to integrate it with their traditional advertising is that my email address is tied to my Perks account and my Facebook account. So I'll see the video in my feed, and then I will get a week later, I'll get coupons in the mail that include coupons for all the ingredients with that, and there's a code I can scan at the bottom to add them all to a cart to have it delivered to my house.
That's brilliant.
And so it's just that integration of you have all these different mediums, and it looks different for a funeral home than it's going to look for my local grocery store, but there's always a way to integrate.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you can take engagement that happens around a Facebook post and then target an ad that's relevant to that, to the exact audience that engaged with that post, absolutely. So what your grocery store's doing, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, they're awesome. I will give them a shout out. I love their meat counter. They've got very friendly guys there, I tell you.
With the funeral home, it could work well with memorialization items.
Yeah.
Things that can be purchased after the death, create content around that, and then target ads for that product at people that have engaged with the video or previous posts to it. Because they're things that you can bring a family back in and add value, or even capture a family that went to another funeral home but didn't have the option to purchase that product. They see it from you, and now there's a way to have a relationship and engagement with that family.
Well, and even targeting around milestones. You liked our page a year ago. Chances are you liked it because someone you knew was at our funeral home in our care. And so that anniversary of the death might be a great moment to reach out and say, hey, how about a thumbie? How about this or that? So I like that idea with merchandising for funeral homes. All right, we have one last question. So is content marketing considered traditional marketing?
I'm going to say yes and no. I mean, again, it's old school marketing, a new shiny box. We've always created content and had to get a message out. But content marketing allows you to one, create content that can be used on social media, and that's a great way to connect two different, not necessarily mediums, but two different content styles. So, we use it internally with a lot of our clients who write blog content, and then taking a piece of blog content and creating a series of Facebook posts around it that really connect the dots and can continue to tell a story. So people like to digest content different ways. I love to read a 500-word article, or if Facebook can make me read a headline that sends me to read a 500-word article. So I'm not going to say content marketing is traditional or new school, whatever the new school would, whatever that means, but I think that content marketing is just another extension of authority, and it's another extension of getting attention. At the end of the day, the funeral home that has the most attention and can provide the most value is going to do the most calls. The value proposition that a firm offers has to be through how they can educate and get the consumer to think differently. And content marketing allows you to do that. It's you're very familiar with inbound marketing, and that's what content marketing is. It's earned. You're earning somebody's attention by putting out content that's relevant and valuable to them.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in terms of I don't think that content's really changed that much. When I know that when Twitter came out and Facebook and some of these platforms started to balloon, it was this focus on these short soundbite content. And now as inbound is becoming more and more prevalent in terms of blogs and being able to push out white papers and that sort of thing, this longer form content is having kind of a resurgence. And I think the demand on marketers, even funeral professionals who dabble in the marketing for their business, is to create quality content.
That's it.
And to make sure that what you're putting out there is valuable to your families. And I think one way you do that is you ask them what information do you need before you make a purchase decision? What information do you need before you attend a service, before you attend a visitation? Do you want tips on things to say to families when they've lost a loved one? And really kind of take a litmus test of your community to see what content they need, and then find ways to meet those content needs and then disseminate it. And that can be through social media, that can be through traditional advertising. It's just kind of a matter of figuring out what your community needs and supports.
It's absolutely, at the end of the day, the consumer is the consumer, and the way that they buy product and research product doesn't change just because it's death care. And so finding what it is that they engage with the most, or where they live the most, or where they what mediums that they digest is where you need to be. So, we can sit here and say it's, radio or newspaper or social media, but it's whatever that community is going to support. And there may be some weekly publication that's just gathered up by everybody, and it makes 100% sense for you to be there. So I'm never going to tell a funeral home they need to cut all their traditional advertising, because it's going to be beneficial, and there's ways that we can leverage it. And we were just out in Iowa with a mutual client at Homesteaders, where we talked about building their entire marketing strategy around social media after they did market research, to be able to know, what does the consumer want and need. We can think they want certain things all day long, but if we're not providing what's valuable, you're not going to get the engagement and the upside of, regardless of the marketing medium that you choose, is not going to be valuable if they don't care about it. So.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. I mean, I grew up in a funeral home where they still, to this day, take notice cards to all the businesses, because it's small and that's what people expect. Yeah. And that doesn't work necessarily in the metropolitan area where Homesteaders' home office is, because there's funeral homes that are doing 500, 600 calls a year, and they can't make it to all the businesses.
It's just not scalable.
Yeah, but the digital media, though, I think is something that is scalable. Social media can reach a lot of people really quickly and efficiently, and there's a lot of value in that. So.
Yes.
And I think our partnership is really interesting because Homesteaders has a pretty robust marketing library. We've got a lot of direct mail pieces, we've got advertisements you can use, we have ready-to-go group presentations, but a big gap in our library is social media, and that's where we partnered with you, and you brought so much expertise to the table in terms of that. So if we have people who are watching it and they're curious how to get started with social media, what would you recommend for their next step?
To do it, one, create a Facebook page for your funeral home, but Google it. I mean, it's a great resource, google.com.
You put it in the bar at the top.
Yeah, you put it in the bar at the top, type it in, type in what you want to learn, and then hit search, and you're going to be flooded with resources. But also you can check out disruptmedia.co. Our blog is extensive on different tips and how to get started, what type of content to create. If you want to do video, where to get started with video. We have a PDF that you can download on how to create high quality video with a smartphone for under $100, where you're going to get HD quality content that you don't have to go to school to learn how to use a smartphone and all these mics and lights. There's simple things that you can buy. We're using them right now on this interview. So, but you have to be there, and not being there can almost be worse than being there and not knowing fully what you're doing, but being present and having a conversation in a way. And then, obviously they can reach out to homesteaders and get connected with us and work together, but DISRUPTmedia.co is the best resource that I can give you to download content that's going to allow you to get started right away. Yeah. And then we're partnering on a social media
Yes, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I'm super excited about it because there really isn't a playbook for funeral homes on, here's screenshots and actionable things that are going to allow you to start creating a valuable social media presence on your own if you're a do-it-yourselfer. And we're collaborating with your expertise and our expertise and morphing them together to create a pretty extensive guide that's going to come out this spring. That's going to be, I've kind of called it a playbook. Just you'll be able to go down through and figure out exactly what you need to do to get started. And obviously there's ways you can go further and partner with homesteaders and partner with us to amplify what you're able to do on your own. Because at the end of the day, funeral directors don't necessarily have the time to be marketers and to be caregivers and to be all the different hats that they have to wear. And there's just professionals and experts that can help.
So busy working in the business to work on the business. Well, and I think the great value of that book is that it's free. We want you guys to use it. We want you to have good solid social strategies. So be watching for that. You can like the Disrupt and Homesteaders Facebook pages, and that is where you'll learn where the social media guide is once it's live. So thank you, Ryan, for all of your help this week and for sponsoring this with us. I think it's been a really great experience, and thank all of you for watching. We are done with our live broadcasts from NFDA for this year. So if you missed some of them, make sure you go back through our page. And I know Disrupt was covering the convention as well, so pop over to their page and make sure that you catch up on everything you missed.
And also, comment. We can do more of these remotely together. So if there's topics that we need to cover, make sure you comment, and we'll hook up online and figure out how to deliver those live and get that information out.
And Dean will wear his fly hat.
Yeah,
he will feel very hip.
He's one of the coolest guys in funeral service.
I am sure he will love hearing that. He likes to get that reinforced. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Have a great day.